It's so different just showing my face than like just doing recording in front of a mic, like in a recording room.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Surprisingly.
Oh, okay. I think we're good. We're good. It's Berlioz. Hi. Okay. Okay.
You're gonna have to adjust your camera, I think.
What is Sally?
The dreaded question.
Wow.
I still not too sure how to answer perfectly because there's like so much stuff going on.
And I still today don't know how to properly put what Sally is. But I'm gonna try. Sally is a flying ship in a mystical world. You are a kid coming aboard Sally to be part of a crew of other kids. So like, let's say between kids and teenagers, so around 10, 12 maybe. And you have these two captains aboard the Sally, who are the grandmas Alice and Beatrix. And you go on adventures, basically. You're gonna meet people around the world. You're gonna learn to be part of that community, to find your place in the crew, explore skills and activities that you want to partake in order to contribute to having a good travel and making the passengers and the rest of the crew happy. That's like at large what Sally is.
The game is a lot. It's so much about community. It's so much about that teamwork, and a lot is gonna rely on how well the other children, the crewmates, are done. They're done by an AI, but this whole idea of interacting with them is gonna be the key component of Sally.
To me, Sally is this weird and whimsical, like, generator of unique and meaningful experience or anecdotes. Like, there's so many systems clashing together that it's bound to create like meaningful points or like narrative points for the player.
And I think one of the greatest appeal of the idea of the flying boat and doing tasks and that idea of community is really how the atmosphere is going to be set. It's a very whimsical, it's a very magical atmosphere, and I feel like that's a feeling and that's an atmosphere that a very niche subset of game have, but I feel not enough games have that, and we really want to bring that with Sally.
I still feel like it's really important for us, at least, to say that we're inspired by Ghibli's work, because
absolutely,
it is absolutely the case, and like we've used like mostly Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle as references throughout the project, as not only like visually, like we said, but the moment to moment, the general like game feel that we want.
This is something that we kind of figured out really early in the project. I think all of us are really inspired by the Ghibli universe.
Because Ghibli it's massive. Like, culturally, it's massive. A lot of people, like, when you think about wholesome, when you think about metaphorical animation stuff, you think about Ghibli. And when you think about Ghibli, you have very specific styles and aesthetic in mind.
One of our artists, her name is Madeleine, she's really good at creating stuff that really looks similar to the Ghibli art style, and you can feel the inspiration of Ghibli in what she does. And it was an easy choice for us because we like it, and she's good at it. So let's just go with this. This is gonna make it maybe easier for us to find a way to express what we're trying to express with the game.
I think it's important to understand what you take out of Ghibli, because if you look at a game like No Kuni, they borrowed a lot of the I'd say world building and setting, but they went for a more 3D stylized type of visual aesthetic while still keeping the scene composition very similar to a Ghibli movie. Of course, we're not borrowing one-to-one the visual signature of Ghibli, because we're doing a 3D game.
In Ghibli in general, you get scenes, you get dialogues, you get sometimes some kind of conflict and fighting, but you also get a lot of really cozy day-to-day moments. As a player, I'm really looking forward to enjoying the day-to-day tasks and actions. I want to enjoy cooking in a game that is not a cooking game specifically. I want to enjoy chilling and hanging out with people, even just, standing by and watching other people live around me and see them react to each other.
Not only is it important that what the AI does has to be obvious to the player, but I think we can go one step further with Sally and not only allude to things going in the happening in the background, but have the player have that constant feeling that things are happening between the AI, and he can see the development when he probes them.
There are obvious life sim inspirations to Sally.
We've always sort of tried to avoid the life sim comparison. We were always like, yeah, no, we're not making anything close to Stardew Valley and things like that. But when we look at it, we have to borrow from them, because of course, it's presumptuous to just think you can reinvent the wheel with everything. Of course, you can make innovative and reinvent the wheel with what type of game you're making, but life sims have done things right that makes people play thousands upon thousands of hours of them, and there's this drive. Every time a new life sim comes up on Kickstarter, on the stores, there's a lot of people that are super happy because this genre of game works, and we as game developers have to look at it and be like, okay, there are elements that we can borrow from that are gonna work in our game too.
To use the example of The Sims, you get to do a lot of day-to-day tasks, but in my personal experience, I really often ended up speeding these moments 80% of the game at speed 3 because you want to get through it. You're just grinding in order to get somewhere. One of our major focuses for Sally, we want to make the interactions in the game rich and fun and interesting to watch, and eventually interesting to experiment with.
Because one thing in life sims that really, I wouldn't say puzzle me, but impress me, is how they take seemingly repetitive tasks, like taking care of a garden, going to talk to every villager, going in the mines to just get the materials, and make them incredibly compelling.
What kind of things do you want to see in the game? What type of experiences or unique
Animals would be cute. I would be really interested in seeing animals in Sally and how you deal with them.
One thing that I absolutely want in Sally is for the player to notice personality traits, the personality traits of the NPCs. But what I want from that is in two ways. I want obvious personality traits, but I want more subtle personality traits. I think it's a lot more personal when you have subtle personality traits, because you're like, not everyone's gonna have noticed that. I noticed it, and I think it gives that very special feeling of a moment between the player and an NPC when they feel like they've noticed something that other players might not have.
I would also be curious to see when it fails. Unexpected stuff that can be really, really funny.
It's gonna be so hyped to show it off, to be like, hey, look at all a bunch of panicked children NPCs. It's hilarious.
What can we expect from the coming devlogs?
I've talked a lot about the different things that we're working on in Sally, and that's the type of things that you can expect in a devlog.
We're gonna talk about the AIs. Definitely. I mean, we cannot keep Louis from talking about the AIs.
We're absolutely gonna do a series on the AI, how we're designing it, how we're approaching the architecture in terms of coding, how we're optimizing it, because of course that type of AI needs to be able to run.
We're gonna talk about the design, probably a bit of the world building, the art direction. I think it's always relevant to talk about the issues that you had in the prod. You know, retrospectively, it's fun to look at it and to go like, oh yeah, that's right, we made that decision because of this, that. And also it can help other people later to not fall into the same traps as we did. A lot of things. We're gonna talk about a lot of things.
C'est bon? Ça marche? On ship?
Like, remember Call of Duty? Yeah, it's nothing like it.
Yeah. It's the complete opposite of Call of Duty.